whatever you're doing might not be working. So what you need to do is find another way to do it, right? Giving up should not be an option.
Okay, madam.
Yes.
তো আমি একটু শেয়ার করি, মানে ব্যাপারটা হলো কি, আমরা এখানে যারা আসছি শুধু আপনার মতো লেকচার দিয়ে গেলে আমরা শুনে গেলাম তাহলে হবে না। এটা চাচ্ছি একটু লাইভলি হওয়া, যাতে করে কিছুটা হলে আমরা বেনিফিটেড হতে পারি। একটু আলাদা করতে চাচ্ছি অন্য সেশনের তুলনায়। তো সেক্ষেত্রে আমাদের প্রবলেম, আমাদের ফিল্ডটা যদি শেয়ার করি তাহলে হবে কি একটা ডিফারেন্ট একটা সলিউশন আসতে পারে, যেটা হয়তো বা হলে আমাদের জন্য কাজে লাগবে। এই কারণে একটু উইলিংলি শেয়ার করা, কার কি অবস্থা, কি ডেভেলপমেন্ট। ওকে, তো আমি তো রিয়েল এক্সাম দিয়েছিলাম ম্যাডাম, আমার 5.5 আসছে। হ্যাঁ, এরপরে তো ভাবলাম কোশ্চেন আনসার তো অনেক সলভ করলাম, তো একটা কাজ করি তাহলে কোশ্চেন আনসার বাদে আমি এখন শুধু ফ্রেশ রিডিং এবং লিসনিং করব, কোশ্চেন আনসার সলভ করব না। দেখি স্কিলটা আবার ডেভেলপ করে আবার আমি কোশ্চেন আনসার সলভে যাব। তো এখন ওই অনেকদিন প্রায় 5-6 মাস পর্যন্ত বিবিসি লিসনিং, যে ইউটিউবে আসে না 3-4 মিনিটের বিবিসি ভিডিওগুলা, ওগুলা অনেক শুনছি, 2-3 বার করে শুনতাম। রিডিং করতাম। ইভেন আপনাদের যে কোর্স মেটেরিয়ালসটা আছে, কোর্স মেটেরিয়ালস এর রিডিং এ জয় কয়টা প্যাসেজ আছে সবগুলা পড়ছি, পড়া আবার কি বুঝলাম সেটাকে আবার শর্ট করে লেখার চেষ্টা করছি, মানে শুধু পড়লাম বুঝলাম না, কি বুঝলাম জিনিসটা। এরপরে আবার আসলাম, আজকে কয়েকদিন যাবত আবার সলভ করা শুরু করছি। 17 আমি এই ফার্স্ট ধরছি। তো 17 এ আমার যেটা হচ্ছে টেস্ট 2 তে রিডিং এ লিসনিং আসলে হচ্ছে 23টা টেস্ট আসছে। আর রিডিং একটা টেস্ট দিছি, ফার্স্ট টেস্টটা দিছি। তো সেখানে এক নাম্বার টেস্টে আসছে হচ্ছে আমার 22টার মতো কারেক্ট হয়েছে রিডিং। আর 2 নাম্বার টেস্টে প্যাসেজ 1 এ আমি 8টা কারেক্ট করতে পারছি। তো এখন যদি আমার 6.5 হতো তো এট লিস্ট প্যাসেজ 1 থেকে মিনিমাম 10টা কারেক্ট করতে হবে, কারণ এখানে 26টা কারেক্ট করা প্যাসেজ 3 তে তো অনেক কমে যাবে, প্যাসেজ 2 তে কমে, প্যাসেজ 1 হচ্ছে যদি পুঁজিটা বেশি থাকে তাহলে দিয়ে কমলে আমার এমএস ঠিক থাকে। তো এই কারণে মানে হতাশার ছাপটা আসলে কাটে উঠতেছে না।
আচ্ছা, if you're say at 4.5 level, you want to get to 7.5 level, just say.
Okay.
So your progression is going slow, but it's going forward. From 4.5 you get to 5.0, then gradually you get to 5.5. If that is when you give up, listening 23 in listening is good. What you need to do is focus on getting that to 26, then to 30, then to 32. That's how the progress goes. You cannot expect, like life is not like you can leap from goal to goal. You have to walk. You have to walk. Sometimes you need to crawl, but you need to move forward. If you're frustrated because you're not getting any better, in your opinion, I think you should sit for some mock tests. Have you sat for any mock tests for IELTS in our institution or another? Have you?
Okay. Before giving real exam, I appeared several times, but after the real exam, I mean, there are 6 months or 7 month gap in between this time. I didn't.
I think you should sit for some mock tests. Actually, have some tangible proof of whether you're progressing or not. Something I can see, something I can then help you with, advise you on. If you can take some mock tests and I can see your results, I can see the answer sheets, I can take your speaking test, then we can actually document your progress. So if you take one mock test every week or every 2 weeks, then we can actually see how far you've come. How about that?
Yeah, it's good. It is good decision.
If that works, talk to Nafisa Apu. She can arrange that. I was talking to her today about the mock tests and everything, the speaking test, the writing test. I'm here to take your speaking test, your evaluation, and
Great.
everything.
Great.
Okay, so I'm here to evaluate your test copy, so that wouldn't be a problem. All you have to do is arrange it with Nafisa Apu and she can guide you. Okay?
May I ask you one thing? I just wanted to know about the mock test. I mean, what's the procedure? I mean, how a person can appear and
I'll come to you, okay, sir. Just give me one moment. Just let me finish the talk with Masum sir.
sure.
Masum sir?
Madam,
So does that sound like a good idea to you?
of course, of course.
You don't sound too
Actually,
confident.
sorry.
You don't sound
Hello?
too confident.
Okay, madam. Definitely, I will appear the mock test. After that, I will come to you the result. Even I will also compare what was the previous mock test result and what is the current result. Then I
Right.
can judge is it improving
Exactly.
or not.
And I'm here to help. No problem at all. All right?
Okay, okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
Okay. I will now answer Atul sir's question. Talk to Nafisa Apu. Huh. She can tell you about the mock tests, how many there can be, what is the procedure to sit for mock tests, and how they can be done. They'll, of course, be done online, and they may be supervised mock tests just for you to see how the tests are taken. All right? Now, talking to Nafisa Apu will answer all your questions, solve all your problems. Any other questions regarding mock tests, or if you want to share your opinions or your problems, if you want to discuss your problems with me, I'll try to solve them. Now is your time.
Hello, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Fazil sir. How are you?
Ma'am, I want to share about my last mock test. I set in the last Wednesday, and before I have also participated a mock test, and that mock test was not so good because that time I was so unfamiliar about the exam condition.
Okay. So how was your this mock
And that's
test?
why
How was it?
that mock test I have found in the last mock test was so good because I have got in 5.5 in reading, listening. But listening question was so tough and is not follow the Cambridge style also. But I face more problem in reading because they have given 18 question in information massing. 18 question in information massing and other question also or summary complication was also at 8 to 9 question, and that's why I face many problem for this. I have found only 4 in reading, but my speaking progression is well, and the
Good.
first mock test was 5.5, but the last mock test was 6.5, and
Alhamdulillah.
also the reading in writing on writing part I can understand how they calculate I do not know, because the past mock test was 5.5 in task 1 and task 2, and this mock test was the same, but I carefully watched the video by Bobby sir, given by Bobby sir, about writing test 2 yesterday, and I follow this strategy, and I have writing the same strategy in that mock test, but they are given only 5.5. Why? I do not know. I do not understand, and that's why I am
What do you
so
mean you do not know? They haven't given you feedback with your writing sample or writing
no
script?
no no. They have not given feedback, or they have given a result in email, by email.
No feedback attached to it.
No feedback attached in there.
That's not how things should be done. You should have feedback. Like, if I check a copy, I will write down all the necessary notes that you need to know
Uh,
for improving
Yes.
yourself.
But I am facing more problem in my reading, because when I complete in Cambridge, that time, sometime in first passes I have complete 13 out of 13, and sometimes less than at least 11 in first passes, but second passes I have completed 8 to 10, but third passes is 6 to 8. But in the mock test, they have asked a difficult question like information matching. It's total 18 question. That's why my brain is totally distracted about this.
Mock tests will always be hard. Mock tests
Mm,
will always be a little harder than your actual test. That's
yes,
how they should be designed. Huh?
yes,
That you can. There's this motto. I think you've heard it too. কঠিন প্রশিক্ষণ সহজ যুদ্ধ, Bangladesh
yes,
Army. Huh?
yes,
So your training should be hard so that your exam is easy.
yes,
Now, Fazlul sir, what I
yes.
think you should be focusing on is the first two passages. Answering the
First
first
question.
passage one, you should aim for 100% accuracy because
Accurate.
it's the easiest one out of all the three
Yes,
compared to the other two. This is the
right.
easiest one. So 100% accuracy in first passage, and then the second passage you can take a little bit of time to
Yes,
double check all your answers.
yes,
Passage 3 will always get you in trouble,
true.
always. So I think you should, if you want an average score, if you want a minimum score like 6.5, you should aim for solving the first two passages like religiously. And then
Right.
whatever time you have left, you can focus on passage 3, the question types that you are
Yes,
most familiar with. If passage 3 has fill in the blanks and you are really good at fill in the blanks, you should attempt
yes,
them first. If you're good at
yes,
MCQ and passage 3 has MCQ, attempt those
yes,
first.
yes,
This is how I practiced. Like when I was practicing for my first IELTS test, I focused on the first two, first and foremost, and then I moved on to passage 3 and did the question types that I was most comfortable with first. That's how you can boost your scores a little bit, just in case that you have trouble with passage 3. One other thing is, at least make guesses. Never leave your answer sheets blank. Do you do that, by the way?
no, no, no,
Good,
never.
good. At least if you can make a guess, then there's a chance that it will be right.
Right, right,
Or true false not given, if you make a guess, there's a 33.33333 chance that you will be right.
right. Yes,
I think Bobby sir has taught you that if you don't have time for reading and solving true false not given, you should put true on all of them. At
right,
least,
right.
remember? Yeah, two
Yeah.
will be correct. Okay. Your reading, general reading, needs a little more work. I think all of you should focus on general reading. Just read stuff. Read things that are closer to IELTS passage formats, like newspaper editorials, magazine articles, journal articles. Just build a reading habit. Try to
Yes.
understand what it's saying. Build your understanding, your comprehension skills. That way, it helps you in IELTS. General listening helps you in IELTS listening. Thing is, these are all soft skills. You cannot build them overnight.
Right.
Language skills are soft skills. পরীক্ষার আগের রাত্রে পড়ে আপনি পরের দিন পাশ করবেন, that's not how it works.
All right.
So you have to put in a little bit of patience, a little bit more patience that you're doing right now, especially Masum sir is, I think, quite stressed out about this.
Ma'am, I have a 1 month for my final exam. I have registered for 14th January, and that's why
14th January,
it's not more time, but not less time.
No,
That's why I'm trying for.
it's good timing.
Yes.
You should sit for mock tests. Just
Yes.
get the test system
Yes.
familiar with yourself. All right? You
Right.
should be comfortable with the test format.
Yes. Yes. Right.
Like the midterms on your first semester and the midterms on your final semester. There's a huge
Right.
difference.
Right.
Yeah. So বাংলায় বলে কি ঝাঁঝরা করে ফেলা. Take the test so many times, mock test
Yes.
so many times, or practice test, that it
Yes.
becomes second nature to you. So you can
Yes.
focus on other things. That's what helped me at least. All right then. Any other
Ma'am, I
questions?
want to share one experience,
Yes.
another experience also. And after giving my first mock test, I was totally depressed and distracted. And that time, I think like Masum Bhai, I feel like to give up this journey. But after giving my second mock test, then I find 18 question in information matching. After that, I think that it is a strategies of this institute. That's why I am not frustrated about this, and I am trying for that, and I am following the Cambridge style also, and I will give the third mock test, I think, in 20th December, and
Okay.
after that I will find at least 14 days for my final exam.
Okay, good. Your first mock test is always the most brutal one. But I think Masum sir, I think his mock test, if he were to show me some of his marks and answer sheets, maybe I could find some pattern that would help.
Yeah. All right.
Now, anything else that you want to discuss or talk about regarding your IELTS journey, your IELTS problems, anything that you are having trouble with at all? If not, we will start today's practice. All right. In one of the previous classes, we talked about one of the 4 criteria for IELTS speaking. Let's continue that discussion so that we can have a little bit of, just a moment, please. Let me share this with you. Can you see the screen? Okay. Let's talk about some of the rest of the criteria. Let's talk about lexical resource. We covered fluency and coherence today. Let's start with lexical resource. Now, by lexical resource, we mean vocabulary, but there's much more to that than just using hard words. Using complicated or big words will not get you marks in vocabulary. I hope you all know that already, but let's talk about that a little more in depth. So 9 band, when we're talking about lexical resource, what gives you a 9 out of 9 in lexical resource? Uses vocabulary with full flexibility and precision in all topics. Uses idiomatic language naturally and accurately. The thing is, using words correctly and knowing all the uses, all the contextual uses of certain words, the words that you know, that's what gives you higher marks. It's not the big words, it's how to use the words. It can be a very basic word, very simple word that has literal meaning and implied meaning. If you can use all of its meanings well, then that's how you get marks. Idiomatic language does not just mean idioms and phrases. It also means there are phrasal verbs, there are different kinds of expressions, those things. Idiomatic language is not just idioms. It's all kinds of linguistic expressions used in any language, including English. Since we're only talking about English, learn collocation. Chobi Ghosh, I'm muting you. Learn collocations, phrases. Learn them and use them. Using idiomatic language, that's what it says. Uses. If you don't understand the uses of certain words, don't use it. See, if you don't know the uses of certain words, don't use it. I can use the word use in different uses, different contexts, different kinds of uses. I know all of them, almost all of them, I think. Now, that's how you get a 9. But I don't think anyone is aiming for a 9. Unless you're an IELTS trainer, you don't have to aim for 9. Let's look at band 8. Uses a wide vocabulary resource readily and flexibly to convey precise meaning. See, a wide vocabulary resource, not like 100%, maybe 90%, 85 to 90%. Like I said, it's the levels. How accurately you can use something and the range to which you can use it, that's what determines your band score. So wide vocabulary resource readily and flexibly, which means you don't have to think about it. If you have to think about it, and if the examiner understands from your face or from your speech that you're thinking about it, you get less marks. Convey precise meaning, not similar meaning, precise meaning, exactly what that means. Okay? Uses less common and idiomatic vocabulary skillfully with occasional inaccuracies. Less common. If you remember the task that you did on your first speaking class, the criteria task, the first point was less common, using less common expressions. Do you remember that? I hope you do. Less common, which means, good, which means you cannot use, you shouldn't use expressions like it's raining cats and dogs. People have overused that. Part and parcel, bread and butter. These are expressions that have been overused by people. Don't do it. Find out some expressions from Google. There are IELTS resource books. There are Google resources, pages after pages after pages that you can use for IELTS. Find some less common used expressions, less used expressions, and you can learn the use of those. Again, please do not use any idiom, any phrase if you don't know the full meaning of it. All right? Skillfully, which means you don't stutter while using these idiomatic expressions. You don't stutter, you don't think too much, it doesn't show on your face, you don't pause, you don't mumble, none of that. Occasional inaccuracies, like 1 in 10 maybe, that is occasional inaccuracy. Uses paraphrase effectively as required. You cannot repeat the questions in your answer. Do you like sports? Yes, I like sports. That's not how you can do it. You can paraphrase the question. Do you like sports? Definitely. I love watching sports. So your paraphrasing will be effective as required, which means you cannot just use synonyms. You have to use other ways to paraphrase. Like, if you remember, you can change voice from active to passive or passive to active. You can change from subjective to objective or vice versa. You can change the sentence structure, simple, complex, compound. Only using synonyms is not effective. If you do that, you'll get a minimum mark. But for 8 band, you should be able to use paraphrasing effectively. Any questions so far? Any questions so far?
No.
Excellent. Let's move on. Band 7. I think this is where most of you have your target set. Band 6.5 to 7.5. This is probably your target as well as your requirement. Whatever you want to do, whichever university you pick, maybe they have a minimum requirement of 6.5. So band 7 and band 6. This is where you should be setting your sight on. Let's look at them. Band 7, first requirement. Uses vocabulary resource flexibly to discuss a variety of topics. See, not a wide range of vocabulary, just vocabulary, which means about 60 to 70%. Your vocabulary should be good enough. Not really good, but good enough. And it should be flexible. That's kind of not non-negotiable up until band 7. You have to have a flexible use of vocabulary to discuss a variety of topics, which means you can use different vocabulary to discuss different topics. You're not repeating the same vocabulary for different answers. You can find other vocab that fits your question and your answer. Uses some less common and idiomatic vocabulary and shows some awareness of style and collocation with some inappropriate choices. Uses some less common and idiomatic vocabulary. Some, not a lot, not too little, some. This is the level for band 7, some. And shows some awareness of style and collocation. Collocation basically means the words that go together. The words that go together. It's usually very arbitrary. Like, you don't do a mistake, you make a mistake. You don't cook tea, you make tea. These are collocations. What word goes with what word? These are arbitrary, and there is actually no other way to learn them than to read and use them. I haven't at least found any science to this, and I have long stopped looking. Collocations are something that you can learn by just reading or listening to how native speakers use these collocations. Speaking style. Now, how to speak English. If you translate from Bangla to English, the style is different. If you translate a Bangla sentence to English sentence, the style is different. A paragraph, Bangla paragraph to English paragraph, the style is different. If you create the English paragraph in your mind and speak it, the style is again different. Native speakers have a distinct speaking style, and non-native speakers, the ones who use translation primarily, have a different style. I have found that wordiness is a big problem, and use of expressions, different expressions, they're not always accurate when you're translating from Bangla to English. I cannot speak for any other language, but I can speak for Bangla speakers. When I say that the speaking style depends on whether or not you're translating in English, at least that's what I found. When you're talking, if you're thinking in English, your speaking style is different. If you're thinking in Bangla and then translating in English, it's different. So you're aware of how to speak in English is what gives you a 7 band. With some inappropriate choices. See, not occasional inappropriate choices, some inappropriate choices. That's the 7 standard. Some. Whatever you're doing, it's some. Uses paraphrase effectively. Not according to requirement, but you can use it effectively. Requirement is really good understanding of paraphrasing. But for band 7, if you can paraphrase effectively, that will do. Okay? That's all for band 7. Questions? Anything that you don't understand, anything that needs further explanation? I'll try. Let me know.
Madam,
Yes, Masum sir. Tell me.
could you repeat in collocations means again?
Collocation means the words that go together, words that sound right together. Like bhul kora. Kora means do, but you don't do a mistake, you make a mistake. So making mistakes is correct, Doing mistakes is not. You don't cook tea. I mean, you take water in a pot, you boil it, you add ingredients to it. That's cooking, right? But you don't cook tea. You make tea. Take it, sir. You make tea. So these are collocations, the words that go together, that make meaning together. And that's usually arbitrary. There is no science behind it, at least not that I know of. If you find some science behind it, please let me know. If there is some logic behind it that I don't know, I'll love to learn from you. So collocations are something you're supposed to learn by reading and using. Making meaning out of this does not actually fall under grammatical rules, at least not for me. I think your sense of grammar and overall English is much more important than your knowledge of grammar or English. Grammar sense, not grammar knowledge. If you have grammar sense, collocation will be easy for you. Master Mansur, does that answer your question?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
There are books that you can use. The one I read last was Advanced Collocations, I think. Let me just check. I think I have it on my iPad. Just give me one moment. I'll give you the name of the book.
If I'm not wrong, the collocations as well as idioms are used to just show off the things, or giving it a poetic kind of a touch, and making it, I mean, one has to show off he knows English. So that's where these two terms actually comes. It's just nothing to do with making a person understand or giving a convincing answer, but it is just in, like in Hindi we say muhavre. I mean, it's in Sanskrit we have, right? In Sanskrit we have, or in English we have poems. There is a particular statement which is quite common in the community, which generally people say. So that's what idiom is. And in Sanskrit we have, I mean, what do you say? Aphorisms, and mantras are there. So,
well, collocations are,
not collocations, I was talking about idiom.
I know. I'm talking about collocations, okay. So collocations are language tools that actually help you use the language more accurately. So the book that I was talking about is English Collocation in Use. This is what the title page looks like, the cover page looks like. So English Collocation in Use. This is the intermediate one. So if you want to learn collocation, this is a good one. I found it quite useful. So, and yes, well, you're right. Idioms, phrases, these are adornments of language. True, very true. And yes, it's a way to show off how well you know that language, how well you can use it. For IELTS, again, you are supposed to show the examiner how naturally you can speak the language. So idioms and phrases, they do come in handy. And using them does get you a lot of marks in lexical resource, at least. So yeah. Anything else? Any other questions so far?
I think if a person would say one or two, because if we are, I mean, our mind is made up of thoughts. So conglomeration of thoughts, that's what you say. So particularly if we, there are different topics which can be asked at the time of the test. So if we just say grasp 4, 5, or maybe 10 or 20, whatever is possible, colloquial sentences as well as or words or as well as idioms. I think that would be
Yes.
sufficient. If we can just manage to say one or two during the examination, that would be good enough.
Nah, one or two is way less than standard. Well, using too many will give you less marks. Using too less will also give you less marks. In a 2-minute speech, there should be at least 4 idioms or phrases, at least 4, in my opinion. There should be at least 4. Because part 2 gives you about 70% of your marks, that's where your main focus should be. Make it as natural as possible. Most of your compound complex sentences should be in part 2. Most of your idioms, phrases, collocations, any skill, language skill, any speaking skill that you have developed, all of that should be focused on your part 2, the description. See? So 1 or 2 is less. At least try to use 4. 4.
I do not think what your experience says. I mean, if you just know 5, 10, or probably more, definitely, as you mentioned earlier, it's about making an improvement every day, and it's not an easy thing. It's you have to put your labor every day.
Yes.
So I just want to know, because I'm not good at idioms. I haven't learned or mugged up these because it doesn't come to me flawlessly. So I mean, I can certain things which I try to mug up, and I would be doing it for the exam. But I mean, knowing 10, 20, which you can relate of in day-to-day activities, would be sufficient, because any kind of what do you say? Any kind of I mean, anything can be given to you, right? Any sort of question can be asked. So I mean, so it has to be extempore, right? So I mean, we never know what it would be asked to you at that point in time.
Yes, I get your point. 10 or 20 at the very least, because these are very specific kinds of language tools. 10 or 20 will not cut it, officer. What you need to do is practice a few every day. Learn a few phrases every day. Doesn't always have to be an idiomatic expression. It can be normal expressions, like break a leg is an idiomatic expression, right? When you say break a leg, you don't actually mean that someone should go and break someone else's leg. It's like win and come back. So it doesn't always have to be idiomatic expressions. You could learn phrasal verbs, you could learn collocations, you could learn normal expressions that you don't always use, like idioms, just normal everyday expressions. What's up? It's not idiom, but
Yeah,
it's normal
a
everyday
form,
expression.
but this would be informal, right? What's up?
Speaking is an informal test, but yes, what's up would be a little informal. How are you? It's fine. But if your examiner asks you how are you, you could say dandy. Dandy is fine. Dandy is like, it's a very informal expression, but it's allowed. You don't always have to say I'm fine. Right? I'm doing well this morning, or it's going well. It's going well. You could say Dan, fine and dandy. That
dandy
makes it
means
peachy.
Sorry?
Peachy, like everything is amazing. That's what it means.
D-A-N-D, right? Is it?
D-A-N-D-Y.
D-A-N-D-Y, okay.
Yeah. So if you say I'm fine and dandy, that makes it informal, yes, but that also adds a little more humor to your answer. The beginning would be nice. Your examiner would like it. However, if it actually also depends a little bit on your examiner, in my experience, little older examiners, they don't like this kind of too informal expressions. So you'll have to make a judgment call. If your
Right. So
examiner is smiling, is a little laid back themselves, then you should go for the too informal expressions. I'll leave it up to you. You can learn different expressions, formal, not formal, semi-formal, informal, a little too informal, and use your judgment.
So it's more or less like dandy. I have seen, I mean, it's means excellent, or there are other meanings to it as well. And I could relate. It's better to appear for test with artificial intelligence or computerized for speaking as well, which are happening if a person, I mean, for PT, for an instance, that is there. So, I mean, I would say eventually it would be law of attraction. I mean, how much efforts you are putting and what kind of examiner you get, whether it's an old person or a young person, and how much preparation you have done.
Well, very true. Very true. My point is that, well, artificial intelligence exams like Duolingo, I have some experience with Duolingo, and a lot of candidates have problems with invalid tests. Because, see, when I'm talking to you, I'm maintaining some sort of eye contact. At least that's what you feel, because I speak looking into the camera. So there are certain standards that you have to maintain while you're taking a Duolingo speaking test, which becomes really difficult. Because, see, when you're taking the test on a monitor, I think on the upper right corner, you can see your own face. And of course, like if you're not practiced, like I can see my own face from my peripheral vision. However, I will not be looking at my own face all the time. So, ma'am, just give me a moment. So I will not be looking at my own face, but a lot of candidates get really distracted and keep glancing at their own face. The AI marks that as possible cheating and flags the test as invalid. So I think the human factor compared to the AI factor would be much more beneficial, because that's what we're used to. Of course, who are used to AI and their methods of flagging in discrepancies, those students, the ones that learn this, how to navigate this, they would do better. I think it's a lot like paper-based IELTS and computer-based IELTS. If you know what you're doing, by all means, go for it.
Actually, I have already appeared for Duolingo and I have got the desired score. I don't know, I mean, how much do you think would be good enough or should ideally a person can expect?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I wish
So
I
I
did.
appeared, I mean, I haven't got any kind of a negative feedback, or I mean, I got my result in the very first attempt.
That's
So
great.
I haven't been disqualified.
Alhamdulillah. Good.
So yeah, I mean, so what I felt was I could have even got more. I got 7.5 overall, 125. I was expecting 135 actually, but I goofed down on a couple of things because it was the first attempt, though I practiced it earlier. So I know, I mean, maybe if I'll take later, again, I'll be able to get the desired one.
Maybe, yes. Of course, that's of course possible. That's great.
So, I mean,
All the best for that.
Just I think maybe I don't have to take the
Bro,
IELTS.
Akhil, bro.
Yeah.
We should focus on our class because
thank you,
it's
Masur
not
Mansur. That would be my call. That would be my call. Thank you very much for your feedback. Akhil sir, yes, you were saying?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, see myself where I stand in IELTS, and I want to score, I mean, the desired if it's, I mean, if I'll be writing the test, because it has been done, but still I want to improve myself. Yes.
Yeah, whichever way you can improve, that's fine. No
Thank you.
problem at all. But For everyone concerned, it never hurts to know more. It never hurts to know more. All right. Let's get back to the class. Let's get back to the lexical resource part that we were talking about. Thank you so much, Atul sir, for your valuable opinions and feedback.
There's a documentary movie called Law of Attraction. It's a wonderful movie. I mean, documentary. You can watch that. That's wonderful.
All right. Thank you. I will. Now, where were we? Band 7 is done with. Any more questions regarding whatever lexical resource points we have for Band 7? All right. Let's get down to Band 6. Has a wide enough vocabulary to discuss topics at length and make meaning clear in spite of inappropriateness. Wide enough vocabulary to discuss topics at length, not a variety of topics, but whatever topic is given to you, you can at least discuss somewhat. At length means somewhat. Onekkani banglaয়. That's how much you know. That's how good enough your vocabulary is. Again, it's about the different levels. It's about the different levels. And make meaning clear in spite of inappropriateness. There might be inaccuracies. However, the communication is clear. The examiner understands what you're trying to say. In spite of you making mistakes, wrong word choices, maybe sometimes you pick words that have a somewhat similar meaning, but not exactly what you're trying to say. However, the examiner understands what you're trying to say. The communication goes through. See, IELTS is a communication test. However precise you might be, it's always a communication test. Sometimes you're not exactly 100% on point. Sometimes it's 60%, sometimes it's 70%. That's where this band will be given to you. If you can make meaning clear, however, inaccuracies, inappropriacies. These are prevalent, not some. See, in spite of inappropriacies, which means there is a good amount of a good number of things that you get wrong. So it's not some, it's more than some. Generally paraphrases successfully. At least you've successfully used synonyms. At the very least, you can use synonyms or maybe a few other tricks, like you can use voice change along with synonym, but it's a general paraphrasing. Not very specific, not very effective, but it's just general paraphrasing, which is successful. You can use synonyms successfully. That's when you get 6, 6.5. Below 6, band 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 has nothing. These 4 bands are not for you to aim at. These 4 bands are here so you know what not to do. কি করবেন না এটা জানার জন্য বাকি 4টা ব্যান্ড আছে. All right, let's just take a quick look at those bands. Manages to talk about familiar and unfamiliar topics but uses vocabulary with limited flexibility. This is something you cannot do. You shouldn't do. Vocabulary with limited flexibility. Whatever words you know, whatever phrases you know, whatever vocabulary you know, you should be able to use it with more flexibility than just limited. Not unlimited, but beyond limited. That's what you should be focusing on. Take notes. Vocabulary, flexibility. These 2 should be your focus. Attempts to use paraphrase, but with mixed success. Sometimes you're successful, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you can use paraphrasing, sometimes you cannot paraphrase. Focus that the unsuccessful part gradually fades away. You can paraphrase successfully. Start with synonyms and then gradually move on to other tricks as well as using synonyms. Huh? So this attempts to use paraphrase, but with mixed success, this is what you should be practicing, not mixed success. You should practice for successfully. Huh? So these are here to tell you what not to do. Let's look at band 4. Is able to talk about familiar topics, can only convey basic meaning on unfamiliar topics. This is something you should focus on not doing. When it's an unfamiliar topic, you should be able to make up your stories. You should be able to make up your answers, borrow from other sources. If you don't have any familiarity with that topic, someone else does. Borrow from their experiences, your friends, your family, books, movies, songs. There's a plethora of sources out there that you can use. So borrow from those, borrow from other stories and make them your own. That gives more meaning to whatever you're saying, not just basic meaning. That goes beyond basic meaning. So that's what you should be focusing on. And makes frequent errors in word choice. Frequent, prochur. It's too often. Don't do it. Word choices should come naturally to you. There is a concept called wrong word. This comes into play when you're writing and when you're speaking way more than you would expect. Trust me. After your first mock test, if I'm checking the copy, if you take the mock test with us, if I'm checking the copy, you'll see I will mark a lot of wrong words if you're using them. For your speaking test, your mock speaking tests, I will be marking the wrong words, the words that are inappropriately used for that particular context. Wrong words will take away a lot of your marks from lexical resource. Rarely attempt paraphrase. If you're asked 5 questions, you only tried to paraphrase one of them and maybe did not succeed. So if you keep repeating the questions, the words, phrases from the question, you get a band 4 and not above that in lexical resource. All right. Band 3 uses simple vocabulary to convey personal information. Just simple vocabulary for personal information. And if it's not personal, what happens when you're talking about something other than personal information, some sort of factual expression or some description? You cannot even use simple vocabulary. If that happens, this is what happens. This is what you get. Band 3 has insufficient vocabulary for less familiar topics. Exactly what I was saying. For less familiar topics, you use vocabulary, but not sufficiently. Maybe 5 out of 8 times you cannot think of the right word to say. You mumble, you pause, you just stop. That's what happens to your speaking score if you do that. Band 3, 3.5 maximum. Again, this is here to just show you what not to do. Only produces isolated words or memorized utterances. I don't think anyone in this class does this. So I'm not worried about this. I'm not even worried about this, because at this point, the regulars know how to use vocabulary in some sufficient way or another. But you don't have vocabulary for less familiar topics. That's not something I've encountered in the last 2 or 3 classes. Some of you have shown tremendous progress. All right, so any questions regarding the use of lexical resources and the criterion on which you will be judged on the IELTS test? Any questions? Any questions? No questions. All right. If there are no more questions, then Just give me one moment, please. Just one moment. All right. Thank you for your patience. Fazlul Karim sir has registered for 14th January. Is there anyone else who has their IELTS test within the next month, within 30 days from now?
Yes, I might be taking it within a month's span. I'm not sure about the date because I need to wait for the confirmation from the university whether they accept the test which I've already given.
Right. If they take Duolingo, then you don't need to sit for IELTS, right? Okay. Anyone else? Chobi Ghosh, ma'am, can you unmute?
Yes.
All right. Ma'am, you raised your hand. Do you have a question? There's a lot of noise coming from your end. Are you using an earphone? If you're using an earphone.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you
Yes,
hear me?
madam.
Okay. You had your hand raised. Do you have a question?
No, actually, madam, আপনি বলেছেন আজকে আমার এক্সাম নেবেন সেজন্য
Okay, good. I said I would, the first one I would take a test for, take a test of would be you, but you were late, right?
Yes.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, I did promise you a test. Who else was there? Was there someone else with you? I said I would take a test. Oh. I think that's probably in another notebook. Acha, no problem at all. Shoyi ma'am, are you ready? Let's start with you.
Yes.
I think someone's calling you, maybe.
আমাকে
Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Please turn on your camera.
I cannot speak proper because I have use of problem with grammar.
If you could speak properly, you wouldn't come to class, right? Don't worry about that. Let's see where you stand right now and how we can improve. All right? Ready? Yes, you need pencil and paper. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, good. May I have your full name, please?
My full name is Chobi Ghosh.
How may I address you?
Chobi. You call me Chobi.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Jatpur. It's located north west part of Bangladesh.
Okay. Do you live in an apartment or in a house?
I live in apartment. It's the highest building.
Okay. Can you describe your apartment?
Yes, actually, My building is very nice, and this is the high-rise building, and it is the suburbs of the city. And here is Sonali Bank, right in the city center. And our building here have lots of
All right.
actually it
Thank
is
you very
a
much.
industrial area.
Thank you very much. What can you see from your bedroom window?
Sorry, ma'am.
What can you see from your bedroom window?
Mm, sir, ma'am, I love see my bedroom window, cause here beside have river, and sometimes I see uh, mm, with sometimes I see my window from for see river.
All right. Let's talk about trees. Are there trees around your house or your apartment building?
No, there have no trees cause this is the industrial area. Here have lots of industry and much more dirty place, and that's why when we are plant some trees, this is actually were destroyed.
All right. Have you ever had a plant or do you have one now in your home?
Mm, and especially I have no any new plan because I am belong a joint family. Here have 15 members, and that's why only my opinion not established here, and I don't have any different plan with my home.
All right. Did you happen to have a favorite tree in your childhood home or in your school that you can talk about?
Favorite tree. Uh, yes, actually, I love lots of flower trees. I like actually I'm emotionally attached with flower trees because sometimes I want to try plant on the roof my building, but when I tried that time I
All right.
plant
Thank
lots
you
of
very
trees.
much. Thank you very much. That would be the end of that would be the end of part one. Now, for the next part of the test, I will be showing you a topic. You will have 1 minute to prepare and then 2 minutes to speak on it. Just a moment, please. Let me share the topic on your screen. Showiman, can you see the part 2 cue card? Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. Your 1 minute begins now.
When and where? What happened eventually? Respond to your application when you persuade.
All right, your 1 minute is over. Now you're going to speak for 2 minutes. Please begin. Ma'am, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. You're muted. Your time starts now.
I would like to talk about occasion when I persuade someone to do or not to do something. ম্যাডাম আমি বলতে পারবো না।
Parvin, keep going. Keep going. So when you persuaded someone to do or not to do something?
ম্যাডাম আমি বলতে পারবো না।
Of course, Parvin. Bolen. So what was it? Persuade yes or persuade no? Keep going.
ম্যাডাম পারবো না সত্যি।
Did you persuade someone to do something or not do something? Speak.
I do, not sometimes. Lots of time I persuade something for different from different types of people, and
So this time, what did
one
you?
time I describe one time that is actually my auntie. She is a school teacher. She most of the time she gives lots of things me. One time she gave books that is very interesting for me because I like very much a book, and I went bridal occasion that time, and I met with her, and she gave me that book, and actually she know I like very much books, and that's why she gave me that book. And this is the very much this is the very much interesting for me. And my auntie, she's open to new ideas, and that's why she choose this types of book for me that is very interesting for me. And when I got this book, I felt good actually. And always auntie encouraged me with a book, but that book is a very exceptional for me this time, because that was a English learning books, because this time is very much need for me. I am I was try most of the time learn something with the
Right.
English, and
Time
my
is up.
auntie know that, and that's why she gives me.
খুব পারতেছিলাম
আমি টায়ার্ড হয়ে গেছি।
But আপনি পাস। আচ্ছা, let's not stray. So do you think that someone can learn to be persuasive if they want?
I don't think so, because every time it's not possible. Sometimes possible, sometimes not possible, but it is actually depend their আকাঙ্ক্ষা, মানে want situation. People with how he or she want how way. This is the issue. Actually not only issue, this is the big issue, is when she or he want a proper way that is possible.
Is there a possibility that being persuasive all the time can lead to negative consequences?
negative. When people think negative, that time I think she or he get negative way, and this is the real issue. And I think if people they want from their mind, that time it is easy for everything. And when people want honestly, that is possible uh, for getting everything. And this is the depends uh, on their choice.
All right. How can employers or an employer persuade their employees to work better?
It depends their experience actually. Literally, I want to say that um, when any employer persuades something, and this is the easy for his or her, because he has some money. But an unemployer people, if they are want something for persuade, that time is not easy for his or her, because sometimes he has money can make
All right.
travel for there.
All right. So, in your opinion, is money the most important way to persuade employees?
Yes, according to our country, money is the most important for persuade something. I have some opportunity there, have some good relation, and this is the rare case. But we if I want something that have need money, if I want some thing, if I want purchase something, that time I have need money. Without money, not get a proper and easy way.
All right. Thank you very much. That is the end of your speaking test. Shobi ma'am, বলতে পারবো না, that was what you were saying, right? You spoke for 2.5 minutes. Do you know that? In part 2, I just let you speak until I gave you 2.5 minutes just to show you that you actually can speak. The problem is that you must learn to speak much more effectively and communicate a little better. That's all. All right. Your first problem is you mumble and pause a lot. Do you translate in your head and then talk?
Yes, madam.
Acha. So you need to start thinking in English a little every day. That's a practice that you should be focusing on. All right. If you want to be a natural speaker, that's the first thing you have to learn. Thinking in English. Translation, no more. You have to stop translating as soon as you possibly can. In IELTS, you should never stop yourself. You should let the examiner stop you. For every question, let the examiner stop you. Speak until the examiner says thank you or stops you in something. And when your examiner stops you, stop immediately, even if you're in the middle of a sentence. Don't make the examiner should not repeat asking you to stop. Acha. Never say sorry to your examiner. If you don't understand a question, say, can you please repeat the question? Or can you please rephrase the question? Don't say sorry. If you have to apologize, please say, pardon me. That's a little more formal, but never say sorry. Why is your pen in your hand? the entire time. Your pen or your pencil should remain on the table. When you're taking notes, pick it up, take notes, put it back down. Your hands should be free. In the exam, you will be asked to keep your hands on the table. You shouldn't hold anything. That counts as fidgeting. If you have something in your hand and you're using your fingers to just somehow navigate it, somehow fidgeting with it, that counts as nervousness. Don't do that. Take it. Your first priority right now should be to communicate, to make sentences without making errors, to use the right words, at least the basic words, to use them right, and at least to make correct simple sentences. That should be your first focus. Reduce your pauses, reduce your mumbling. And in the beginning, when you're asked a question and you're starting to answer, you take a few seconds to think. You have to reduce the pauses at the beginning. You need thinking time, use filler sentences. In your classes, you've learned about those, use those strategies. So, first priority, pauses, mumbling কমাতে হবে. You cannot, you have to reduce all that. You have to start making simple sentences correctly and use the basic words correctly. All right? This is your focus right now. All right? Practice that. That is the end of your test, Sarah Mam. You can now turn your camera and microphone off. If you have questions, though, you can ask. If you have questions, you can ask. If you have questions, you could ask, though. Huh? Okay. If you don't have questions, that's fine. So since Akhil sir and Fazl sir have a test coming up, I'll start with Fazl sir. Are you here, Fazl Karim sir? Oh, he's not here. Let me double check. Okay, Fazl Karim sir is not here. Akhil sir, do you want to sit for the test?
Yes, sure.
Great. No problem. Please turn on your audio and video. Ready?
Yes.
Great. May I have your full name, please?
Sure. My name is Akhil Chaudhary.
How may I address you?
You can call me Akhil.
All right, okay. Do you work or do you study?
I do work. I work as a yoga instructor, and I too take online as well as offline sessions. So I've been working from last 8 years or more as a yoga instructor, and that's something which I would like to continue.
Thank you. So what kinds of technology do you use for your work?
I use internet, and there are other gadgets. I mean, I can conduct sessions online over my laptop or on my phone. And in fact, there are certain portals which can be designed to promote your services. So that is also there. But as of now, I haven't started implementing that. Probably it could be done once I would complete a course which I'm seeking to do. So maybe another couple of years or maybe 1 year.
All right, thank you. Do you wear different clothes on special occasions or do you go casual?
Definitely, I like to explore different clothes, different dressing style. So depending on the occasion, whether it's required to wear formal or casual, so I just take the things accordingly. For an instance, if I have to go for some formal get-together in an office, then it has to be formal. If I'm going with friends, so generally I prefer to wear casuals.
Okay, thank you very much. What when was the last time you wore a traditional outfit?
Well, it was a long time back, though I have inclination towards tradition. I do remember it was during my convocation because I did yoga in my as my master degree course. So that's something which on the day of convocation it was held on the Youth Day of India. So we wore traditional dress and we got
All
the
right.
certificates and
Thank you. Did you have a favorite outfit as a child?
yes, I mean, as a child, I used to prefer uh, clothes which are quite catchy to eyes. I mean, I do remember one day I wore a silver dress as there was an actor who danced on a song, Disco Dancer. So that's something I was inspired, and I got one dress. I asked my mother, and she was like, "Okay, fine. You won't get rid. You won't be leaving me unless you have the dress." So eventually, I got it, and
Okay.
that's what I.
Thank you. Mithun Chakraborty, yes.
Yes, yes, precisely.
Yeah. All right. Now, for the next part of the test, I will be showing you a topic. You'll have 1 minute to prepare and then 2 minutes to speak on it. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let me share the screen with you. Do you see it?
Yes.
Your 1 minute begins now.
It's the same thing, right? Same question which was asked before. This part
Did
two.
I already show it to you once before?
Yeah, this was one. I mean, no. Sorry, my bad.
Your 1 minute begins now.
Well, I'm ready.
Your 1 minute is up. Now you're going to speak for 2 minutes. Please begin.
Sure. I'll be talking about the occasion when I saw many people smiling. It was way back during my college time. We went, 4 or 5 friends were there. We went for an outing for a couple of days. So we actually took a break. There's a place called Hassan Baraj, which is quite a tourist place, and a lot of shooting happens over there. So I mean, when we were lucky. We saw a film was getting shot over there, and we were sitting next to the lake, and we saw that people were doing boating in it. So that's what there was a scene which was being shot at that point in time, and I do remember the face of the artist who was there. She actually is, I mean, was portraying as a transgender, and so after the shot was over, so we started communicating. So we were just having fun, and so she interacted and said that, I mean, who are you? You seem to be from college and you are loitering around over here. And we just started talking that, yeah, we wanted to see the shoot, and these are all conversations were happening. And when she asked for the name of us, we were just, as in college time, people try to flaunt things and just try to be notorious. So we said, my name is Suraj, sun. That's what we say in Hindi. It's Suraj. His name is Chand, moon, and these are stars. So that's the way they say it, because in Bollywood they say that all these artists are stars, right? So we were making fun of that, and then I mean, people who were around us, everybody was started laughing. So it's a wonderful memory in my mind. It was near to Dehradun. It's a quite good place to be. It's a cantonment area. Though we were far away from there, 250 kilometers, and the kind of a drama which we all created, that created a lot of amusement among people who were there to that place, and sitting next to the lake and watching the film shooting. So that was one of the event I
Thank
can
you very
recall.
much.
Thank you.
That is the end of part 2. Now, let's talk about what you may have done to make people smile. When was the last time you made somebody smile?
Well, I have the habit of creating humor. Oh, sorry, humor. And not humor, because humor is something which is not good, and that's. I would like to say that I said it intentionally so that I can make you laugh. So, so it's that's what something which I have developed since childhood, and I try to do it whenever it's feasible. So I believe, I mean, I do remember in my childhood, I asked my mother. My mother said to both of us, both the kids, that you should be picking up these things. So generally, what people do is the labor. They do smoke between their work, right, after their heavy work. So we said, I just said to my
Thank you
brother.
very much. Do you think women smile more than men do?
Well, I believe in gender equality, because soul doesn't have any gender, color, or any geographical boundaries. So I believe that it depends on the mental disposition of a person. So I mean, it could be either male or female. So yeah, I mean, if they are they have a humorous kind of attitude, then definitely they would laugh as compared to men, and vice versa. So irrespective of gender, I would say there's no research work which I've come across which says that women laugh more than men or vice versa.
Okay.
So I believe that's what generally
Thank
people
you.
believe in.
Why do people smile when they have their photo taken?
Well, it could be many reasons. If somebody is clicking a picture, probably a person is not comfortable. He just want to make himself comfortable so that he can get a better picture clicked. Or maybe, I mean, somebody would have cracked a joke at that point in time that would have made a person laugh. So there could be different scenarios and different situations which can make a person laugh or do some other, or behave in a different way altogether, showcase their different side of different emotions. So it depends on the situation, I would say.
All right.
And yeah.
So what do you think of people who use fake smiles to hide their true feelings?
Well, I would say that it's kind of an art which is required in these days, because when you say your true feeling, or you show your negative side, nobody likes to pamper that. It's very few people are there who would give you a shoulder and make you speak your heart. But eventually what happens generally, what I have seen, observed, my experience goes that way, is that if you share, that would become a public thing eventually. So which is not good. That will again hit a person emotion. So it's better to hide and to flaunt, the way people say, fake it till the time you make it. So keep smiling instead of just showing your emotions.
Thank you very much. That would be the end of your speaking test. You are much, much more relaxed than you used to be. That's a really good thing. Does it have anything to do with your Duolingo test? At least you've past one hurdle and you don't have to worry about it that much. Your
Yes,
speaking
to some
test.
extent, but I would say today, I mean, I was a bit more serious about this, so I have a bit more relaxed. So once you're relaxed, you can perform better.
Yes, absolutely. However, if you do sit for the speaking test, for IELTS speaking test, remember to paraphrase the topic, the cue card topic.
Okay.
You said an occasion when I saw many people smiling. Those are taken right from the question. So paraphrase that in the beginning, so you'll get better marks. And a little bit of here and there, that's a constant with you. That's not a problem. Other than that, I have absolutely no complaints. I'm much happier today because you're very relaxed, you're smiling more, and a little bit of maybe hesitations toward the end in some of the questions. Before your time was up, I think you realized 2 seconds too late that you shouldn't stop speaking. So you started again. But then by that time, I had already started the next question.
So that's the right thing to do because I thought, no, okay.
No, you shouldn't pause. 2 seconds, 3 seconds pause means that you're done with your answer. The examiner will ask the next question. So don't stop until the examiner stops. You just keep it coming. Keep the flow going. All right. So
I think I should be speaking a bit slower so that it would consume more time, as well as it would be more prominent and there would be no fillers sound as well.
Yes, that can help. Practice it a bit more. Record yourself. See if that works. If you record yourself, you'll be able to understand yourself.
And how much you'll rate today?
You should get 7 to 7.5. You should get a 7 to 7.5. Does that fulfill your requirement?
Yes, I mean, I'm seeking for the same at least, and yeah, I mean, learning is never ending process.
Yeah. If you can solve that, a 7.5 is a guaranteed one.
Okay, I'll try to work on it.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam, আমার একটা কথা আছে।
Yes, Sarah.
আচ্ছা, আমার তো যে ম্যাডাম বলতে চাচ্ছি যে লিসনিং 14 থেকে 17 এর বাইরে আর আমি কখনোই করতে পারতাম না। 1 মান্থ আমি মানে প্র্যাকটিস করছি, মানে প্র্যাকটিস সময়টা 1 মান্থ। তো হচ্ছে যে তাহলে আমি কিভাবে ইমপ্রুভ করতে পারবো লিসনিং এ?
Ma'am, your general listening needs to be good before you can attempt IELTS listening. Your general listening, apni emnite khobor shune bujhen kina, whether you understand whatever you're listening to. For example, BBC News. If you're listening to news, can you understand? Can you comprehend everything that they're saying? Without asking someone else for context, or without looking at Bangla news. So listening, understanding, comprehending what they're saying is the first thing to do. Have you tried testing that if you can understand normal English speech?
Yes.
How about it? Can you?
Hello? Yes.
Can you understand normally when English is spoken?
হ্যাঁ, বুঝতে পারি, নর্মাল ইংলিশ মোটামুটি বুঝতে পারি। ওই যে স্ক্রিপ্ট গুলো যে সবগুলো শব্দই আমি বুঝতে পারছি, কিন্তু আমি বুঝতে পারছি না আমি কিভাবে মানে কি করব। এই জন্য আপনাকে জিজ্ঞাসা। আমি কথাগুলো সব বুঝতে পারি, তখন যখন আমি ট্রান্সক্রিপ্টটা শুনি আবার, তখন আমি বুঝতে পারি যে আমি যেগুলো শুনেছি, যা বুঝেছি সেটাই কিন্তু বলতেছে, যখন আবার স্ক্রিপ্টের সাথে দেখি। হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু আমি 14 থেকে 17টাই আমার হচ্ছে, এর বাইরে মানে এর উপরে আমি উঠতে পারতেছি না।
So the listening part is not the problem. Listening, reading the question and determining what the answer can be is your problem, right?
হ্যাঁ ম্যাডাম, আপনি বলতে পারবেন, আপনি তো এক্সপেরিয়েন্স, মানে আমার প্রবলেম।
That's what I'm asking. If I don't know what exactly your problem is, I can't help. So that's why I'm asking questions. So when you're listening and you're reading the question, trying to listen for the answer, is that when you have trouble? আপনি প্রশ্ন পড়ে আনসার কি হবে এটা বুঝেন না, এটাই কি?
না না, সব যে বুঝতে পারি না তা কিন্তু না, কিছু তো হচ্ছে, হ্যাঁ 17টা পর্যন্ত হচ্ছে, তারপরে আর ডেভেলপ হচ্ছে না, তারপরে আমি কিভাবে প্র্যাকটিস করলে যে আমার একটু ডেভেলপ হতে পারে? কিন্তু ম্যাডাম আমি যে খুব
কেন
একটা সময়
হচ্ছে না এইটা আগে জানান, আর তারপরে সেন আপনি কি প্র্যাকটিস করবেন, ঠিক আছে? আচ্ছা, আজকে তো অনেকখানি দেরি হয়ে গেছে। ছবি ম্যাম, নেক্সট ক্লাসে লেট করবেন না, বি আর্লি, একদম অন টাইম। ক্যান ইউ ডু দ্যাট?
ইটস ওকে।
Can you do that on the next class, on the next practice class? Can you be here at 3 p.m.?
ইটস ওকে ম্যাডাম।
Ma'am, next class will be here at 3 p.m. একদম প্রথমে।
ওকে
Okay, ঠিক আছে, তাহলে we will start with the discussion of your listening problems. I will ask you questions. In the meantime, this week, listen to some podcasts or some BBC podcast, BBC News, CNN News. Try to understand. You can catch all the nouns. Huh? Only the nouns. Try to catch all the nouns. I want to see if you can figure out specific stuff which is necessary when you're answering questions, right?
ওকে
Only the nouns. At least 3টা clip যেখানে আপনি শুধু noun গুলা ধরতে পারছেন। Clear?
ওকে
All right. So for this week, your assignment is to practice understanding nouns from listening scripts. Okay?
ওকে
Great. I will see you next week. Sharp 3 p.m. We will begin with you. All right? That would be it for today.
Thank you.
Class is officially over. See you, Akhil sir. Class is officially over. You may leave. I'm ending the meeting. Take care. See you next week.
ওকে বাই।